by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, say it again, Shaw. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Sholly-yak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Sholly-yak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
Cold Reality Radio starts now.
This week on Cold Reality Radio, the NSA hacked Chinese servers. Ukrainian soldiers sing as Russian troops storm Crimea base. We've got Der Spiegel reporting on the Chinese hacking. More in-depth report on that. Mark Zuckerberg says Obama steps on spying, his steps on spying not enough, now that he's probably being personally affected by it. We've got Hillary calls for mass movement on climate change. She must be running for president. That scumbag. We've got GMOs could cause irreversible termination of life on Earth. Risk expert warns. We've got the Southern Poverty Law Center being profiting on hate. What else is new? Armored vehicles break into Ukraine base in Crimea. Shots fired, as I said. Cops or soldiers, America's police have become too militarized. I'm going to talk about a conversation that I had with an actual SWAT member. Obama's weekly address, minimum wage hike, is about rewarding women. We've got fiscal bomb. Now we've got around 45% of UK graduates cannot pay back student loans. There you go. IMF's property tax hike proposal comes true, with UK imposing mansion tax as soon as this year. The National Journal says, could the U.S. face a cruise missile threat from the Gulf of Mexico? Matt Drudge pays his Liberty tax. White House media attack after Drudge pays Obamacare opt-out penalty. Russian troops surround the base, as I said, issue ultimatum. Malaysian flight information. China spots new possible plane debris in southern Indian Ocean. Navy database tracking civilians. Gum sales plummet as poison is discovered. Aspartame, I would imagine, right? What do we got here? Top medical conspiracy facts. We're going to kind of run through some of those. Georgia, there's a historic victory for the Second Amendment out of Georgia State. Syrian jet shot down by Turkey. That and more. Some of the sickest patients on the hook to pay more for specialty drugs under Obamacare plans. Idaho governor signs emergency legislation to nullify federal gun laws. NSA, as I said, breached Chinese servers seen as security threat. And there's a guy saying, I want to know what I'm eating. Much worry and concern over GMO food. I am the Sholly Llama. This is Cold Reality Radio, Sunday, March 23rd. This is the UCY.TV broadcasting network. If you've never heard of us, bookmark it. Stay tuned. Got a lot of great programming on here. We're not just some fly-by-night organization here. We're about free speech and real freedom of information. And we try to do our best here on the UCY.TV broadcasting network. If you're over on Twitter, I tweeted out that the show was starting. That goes over to the CIA database known as Facebook. And so that went out over there. So hopefully we pull in some more traffic today. And good morning to everyone over in the UCY.TV chat room. Lady Pitt making breakfasts. I'll have some bacon. I'll have some bacon and a flapjack. JJ and Dan, good morning. JJ, right? JJ, I said. Anon's in there. Wanted to be anonymous. All right, so it's been a very interesting week. The deadline for Obamacare is the 31st of March, and all kinds of misinformation, disinformation coming out. We've got desperation with between two ferns. We've got LeBron James. We've got everything that $17 million of our tax money is being used to promote this depopulation program called the Affordable Care Act. And it's just unbelievable how, and that's just, it's not just that. Our tax dollars go to, kill Palestinian children. Our tax dollars go to Israel so that they can steal more land and wreck more lives over there. But they're the ones that are oppressed, of course. And, we are the great Satan and they are the little Satan. And, it just goes on and on and on. And then the sickness is that over the years people pick up on it and they really truly believe and then back up Israel and whatever they do and believe whatever they say because they're dumbasses and they have no idea and they can't think for themselves. It's easier to have somebody tell you what's going on in the world than for you to actually do some research. But hey, that's what it is. Don't do any research of your own. Just go to school and learn the lies. I'm watching Fox News the other day, and there's some good stuff on Fox News, mostly that, they're pointing out that Obamacare is an absolute abomination, and it's not meant to do anything that it said that it's going to do. But then, of course, there's a Common Core commercial on in between programming. And, of course, if you don't know what Common Core is, it's Big Brother's 1984. Hello? I'm on the air, right? All right, I'm on the air. Tune in or call in, or I'll talk to you a bit later. All right, it's family for you. They have no idea that you're what your hobbies are. I consider this a hobby. I consider this, doing what needs to be done. And as a person who my father fought in World War II, he was injured. His hip was injured. He got shot several times, but yet he still made it back to the States alive and had 5 children, and got married, had 5 children, and realizing how badly that he was manipulated. But you do back then. People did what they thought was right to do. They saw a threat to their country and they acted on it. One of the running jokes in my family is that my father and one of my uncles went to the recruiting office to sign up, and the office was closed. I guess that should have been a sign, but they went and they did what they thought that they had to do to save America from speaking German if Hitler won the war. And of course, he was never going to win the war. And to this day, the image of Hitler, his actions have been used to go further, to spread the war theater and the spectrum and the breadth of world conflict even further. Oh, this guy's a new Hitler. Gaddafi's a new Hitler. Hussein's a new Hitler. Bin Laden's a new Hitler. Hitler. If you talk to some, he's Walt Disney. Anything's possible with the level of deception that we're seeing out there. But people, as I said, people did. Dan Bill Cooper, don't call me Bill Cooper, said, hey, my grandfather was in World War II as well. There you go, man. Our fathers and grandfathers and everybody, did what they thought that they were supposed to do. The greatest generation. Tom Brokaw. Oh, this is Tom Brokaw. The Greatest Generation by my bug, man. Brokaw. But they were duped. They were duped into a war that was created. It never needed to happen. World War I never needed to happen. It was always spurred by criminal banking elements and families with incredible amount of money, and of course that money led to the control of governments, the creation of corrupt governments, and then of course Franz Ferdinand was assassinated by the Black Hand. That was all. That was just a trigger, but there were financial things going on. In fact, some are saying the same things that are going on now over in Europe are the same things that happened in Europe that, prior to World War I. So history repeats itself. Some people say that it doesn't necessarily repeat, but it rhymes. Either way, people die, Either way, people die. And not the people that should die. The scumbags that foment war and create and then profit from war. This war profiteering has gone on forever. It's gone on for so long. Profiteering off of other people's misery. Much like the Holocaust industry. As Norman Finkelstein pointed out. When is the profiting off of the Holocaust going to end with these Jewish groups? Never. Never. And why? Because they never want you to forget something. Even though, 55 to 60 million people died, starved to death, whatever. Never want you to forget about the Jews' suffering. Goes on and on and on and fucking on and on and on. Why is that? Because in America, very, very powerful Jews run our media. And this isn't about hate. This is fucking reality. How we never hear about, what Stalin did to starve millions. Or, as I said, the 55 to 60 million people that died in World War II as a fucking whole. We have to continue to hear on television. A guy wrote a book saying that half of China is anti-Semitic. I was watching Imus in the morning, and he brought this guy on. I forget what the name of the book is, and quite frankly, I don't really care. It's just that we're better than you. When 6 million of our people die, or our group die, it's just going to go on and on and on forever in film. It's going to go on and on forever here and there. But the other, 55 million, 55 million, whatever. And that's right. Mostly the wrong people die. Is Anon 8215. His number in the cyber internment camp known as the UCY chat room. The cyber internment camp. You can check in, but you can never leave. Most people never even sign out. They're constantly in there. Because UCY is a cool place, man. It's a cool place to visit and stay. Good stuff. So anyway, as I was saying in the chat room earlier, my French press, the glass on my French press had a crack in it. Pretty large, like 4 or 5 inches. No burrs or anything on there, but we're taking any chance of putting any glass in. And of course, I noticed it before after I put the coffee in and before I poured the water in. So who knows? It's the second one. They're pretty expensive too. So I guess and they make the glass really thin too. Why don't they make them like friggin' beakers, like medical, these beakers, thick glass? No, because they know sooner or later you're going to crack it and that you're going to come back but not this time. Not this time, French press makers. Not coming back. I'm going to try to find a better one or some kind of stainless steel coffee maker. I've had it with all this Chinese stuff. Which brings us to the big story this week on Drudge Report that the U.S. and the NSA spied on this Chinese these Chinese servers, and they got inside this specific style or design, and the goal was to infiltrate it, find its source code, and then be able to track it wherever it goes from the moment that it's turned on and, connected to a network. The Chinese telecom giant Huawei, I don't even know how to pronounce this, but Huawei is considered a security threat by the NSA. The backdoors in the equipment that could allow the Chinese military or Beijing-backed hackers to steal corporate and government secrets. So there you go. There's your threat. The heavily criticized agency pried its way into the servers in Huawei's sealed headquarters in Shenzhen, China, industrial heart, according to the NSA documents provided by Snowden. So now they're using some of these documents from Snowden to, really try to get at the heart of some of these supposed cyber threats. At the time they gathered up information about the giant routers and the complex digital system switches that have been boasted to connect a third of the world's population and monitored communications of the top company executives. The code name of the program, Shot Giant, and it was to find any links between Hawaii and the People's Liberation Army. That was one of the triggers. One document made that clear. Then the plans went further. The goal at that point was to exploit the equipment so that it could be permanently compromised, as they said, with the source code. So And so that's just the latest in NSA. It's overreach, the national security. And then say, oh, do whatever. Like Joe Piscopo this week of SNL fame. Pretty much it, though. I mean, he hasn't done anything. He's pretty much starred with, Eddie Murphy. And, that was probably one of the lamest. Eddie Murphy was probably the funniest, one there. And of course he went on to have a big, comedy career in movies. And, to this day, he figures out a way to get into certain movies even in his later years. But Piscopo's on there and he's talking with Neil Cavuto. And he's just like, hey, just let the government do whatever they want to do. Just let them do whatever they want to do. The bad guys are out there. The bad guys are out there. We got to stop the bad guys. I got nothing to hide. Yeah, you got nothing to hide. You got no career. And it said comic and actor. Sure, dude. You were in, what was that movie, with Michael Keaton? It was a gangster movie. Where they were calling each other ice holes. You're an ice hole. Anyway, kind of funny, but Piscopo had a character, where he would be like, I'm the guy, just this annoying, obnoxious guy, from New Jersey. And he'd be like, I'm from Jersey. Are you from Jersey? Yeah, from Jersey. It turns out that a lot of people from Jersey are slaves. Because, you can never, grow up and get any kind of, self-protection. You can't, fully take advantage of the Second Amendment. You can't, purchase, firearms. You can't do mostly anything in New Jersey. And that's pretty sad because, there's a lot of people out there that like in Pennsylvania, you talk to people and they pretty much, are taking advantage of their, Second Amendment, rights. And then listening to Hal Anthony last week, your right to protect yourself, it shouldn't even be a right. It should just be. It should just be. It's not something that the government gives you. All right. So, you learn a lot listening to, this vast alternative media. I don't believe in this whole patriot thing. I just don't agree with the wording or anything like that. But when you do listen to it, you being able to protect yourself any means necessary, should just be. And, today after my program at 2 Eastern time, we've got the Canary Chronicles with Dinah Everett Snyder. And then at 3 to 5, we've got Hal Anthony behind the woodshed. So it's always, awesome, Sunday lineup here, especially after my bantering is done. We get into the meat and potatoes of medical information from, Dinah Everett Snyder, Canary Chronicles. She has a, knowledge base of, immense proportion, and she will be on at 2 Eastern time for an hour. So stay tuned for that. As I said, defiant Ukrainian soldiers sing national anthem as Russian troops storm their base. I've got a video of that. Let's rock it, man.
I'm standing outside the living quarters and command section of the Belbek Air Base, which was the portion of the base which the Ukrainian Air Force retained control of after Russian forces occupied the runway, the hangars, and the magazine on the hill above about 3 weeks ago. The colonel here has been trying to hold out very, very defiantly ever since Russian forces arrived. And they've almost daily been telling him to surrender, lay down his arms, and go home. He's always said, I'm not going anywhere until I get orders from Kiev. It seems those orders never arrived. And today, at about 3 or 4 o'clock, vast numbers of so-called self-defense forces, which are essentially Cossacks and local thugs, armed with assault rifles and baseball bats, arrived, backed by professional Russian troops with armored personnel carriers and armored jeeps with heavy machine guns mounted on the roof. And they used those armored personnel carriers to punch through the gates, punch through the fences. We believe 5 came in from different directions. They used stun grenades, and they did fire their weapons as they stormed this area, although as far as we understand, no one was seriously injured. Belbek Air Base has been kind of the symbolic center of resistance ever since Colonel Yuli Mamsur led his men up to the runway to demand their jobs back in a remarkable standoff 2 weeks ago. Colonel Mamsur has always been very media savvy, and there's been a webcam streaming over the gate for the past several days at least, which we've all been watching in anticipation of this storm. It seems that the Russians became aware of it at some point. They didn't remove it before they moved in, which allowed people to watch a lot of this, but it sounds like they've finally pulled that down.
All right, so as I said, further developments over there. And of course, back here, Obama is still being seen as weak with all of these, worldly events going on. Obama's out there doing Funny or Die. He's out there soliciting LeBron James, because those are the real heroes in this world. Exploited black athletes are the real heroes. Because the system has to. Not saying, hey, everybody gets a piece of the pie. Some people get bigger pieces of the pie, like Bush says, look at the haves and the have-mores, okay? You got that, and then of course you have, black athletes and things like that get paid, large sums of money. Okay, the NBA and the NFL are clear-cut examples of the balance of financial power in the hands of black people, to so that black people see. I think that there's a way that they continually control groups of people. And with your Michael Jordans over time, your Magic Johnson, your LeBron James now, it's just their way of saying, look, you can make it in America. Okay, it just so happens that sports is the way to really create this. Of course, what do they got now? They got the wives of these NBA players. Okay, just to roll it out even more. And I mean, the black athletes they're not going to say, I'm not going to take the money because I know that it's just a payoff or something like that to control things. These guys are incredible athletes. They play, they play at an incredible level. It's exciting to see the last 2 or 3 minutes of a basketball game. You've got hockey, which is the Flyers. I was in the chat room yesterday, just kind of hanging out, chilling out, listening to some Webster Griffin Tarpley, his rebroadcast from the network, from GCN over there. And the Flyers have a black player on there. They've had, over the years, one or two black players. Wayne Simmons is his name, and he's a dynamic player. I mean, the guy hustles crazy. He's all around the puck all the time. And so, good for him. And but you just don't see a predominant, it's, predominantly Canadian and white Canadians and white Americans. And but it's great to see a player. I mean, Wayne Simmons might be one of the top one of the top black hockey players in the league. I mean, this guy's scoring goals, man. He's almost got like 20 goals. I'm a big fan of ice hockey, and that's pretty much it. The NFL just really sickens me mostly anymore, and baseball is like, I can't sit around and watch a baseball game. If it's a local team that's winning like the Phillies did in 2008, then, I'll check it out. But well knowing that it is a distraction and or the mental castration of the male population, the mental castration of the male population to keep them toned down. Again, so Joe Piscopo, let the government do whatever. There's bad guys out there. That's what Americans have turned into. Not the gatekeepers for freedom and liberty. The bad guys are out there. Let somebody else handle them, okay? Let somebody else handle them, all right? So I had to tweet to Piscopo. I got nothing to hide. Yeah, no, you're not really that funny and never were, and you're not that great of an actor, so I would hide that. You've got nothing to hide. As I said, developments there, Britons, whatever those people from Britain are called, rate Russia more positively than European Union. And I guess that makes total sense, because most of the world, other than the United States of America, where most Americans have their heads up their asses, have no idea that the situation in Ukraine was fomented by George Soros and his shenanigans, the self-hating Jew that he is. Mr. Let's change our name so people don't know that we're Jews, so we'll be safe. I got no problem with that. But then he pointed out, there's Jews over there, there's Jews over there, and there's Jews over there at the Ritas. It's just, he's a pig. And he's not, he didn't break the bank of England by himself, okay? He's a top global puppet, and he is a baby killer. And that's how he roll. And of course, the $5 billion that Newlander spoke about, it's already been declassified. That nothing doesn't really ever get talked about, even on Fox News, because Fox is all about, I can deal with, listening to guys like Lou Dobbs, or I can listen to Andrew Napolitano. Can even watch a little bit of that show called The Independents. I don't know if anybody's seen that out there. It's called The Independents. It's got that Kennedy chick from MTV back in the day. And some guy, Matt something from Reason.com, works with Gillespie Nick Gillespie, and then a black fella, Jameel something. But they're all incredibly smart young people, and they talk about libertarian views. They just had an episode, I think it was Friday night, about climate change. They had Bill Nye, the science guy, and he was all like, I can't believe you're Fox and you want to talk to me about this. And then he had this like edge to him, like, you're going to turn and twist anything that I say. And I think they were more than fair with him. But they were like, okay, so say this is happening. And they believe that it's happening to some extent, but nowhere near the level that it's being lied about. And then they just talk about how, they say like 7 million people are going to lose their jobs, this, that, and everything. And then they talked about fracking. Like everybody on Fox is all about the fracking. Fox Business, mainly. I can't stomach O'Reilly. I can watch a little bit of Hannity, but that's about it. But Fox Business, I can do a little bit of that. And, they're just all about, ready to go to war with Putin, Putin's the demon, he's a devil. But let's not talk about the planned instability of the Ukraine, the non-governmental organizations funded by George Soros, and all the things that were going on in there. That was all about getting the EU in there and making the Ukraine part of the European Union, which is the devil's lair. It is truly about the devil's lair. Get in there, get you in debt, loan you money, get you in debt, and then realizing that you can't ever pay it back, or creating scenarios where you're unable to pay it back, and then you pretty much take whatever they have. I mean, that's what it is. It's all about loan sharking and then taking everything you have. That's how this system works. Whether it's Jews at the helm, or Christians, or whatever. Okay, this is being fomented by the international banking systems that want to take over pretty much anything, and of course at the same time destabilize the area, destabilize Russia. And all Putin's doing is going in there saying, I'm going to secure what belongs to Russia, what belongs to the Russian people. But make no mistake, there is evil inside of Russia that is controlling it, like the evil that's inside of this country that brought you the NDAA, that brought you the Patriot Act, that brought you just all types of legislation that has brought us to this point now. And until that evil is confronted and accepted, or until that evil that is out there is accepted by most people, that there's an evil out there, and it's not just, Barack Obama's, cabinet administration, but it was also George W. Bush's with Dick Cheney, Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, the Project for New American Century, where they explicitly said the process of transformation is likely to be a long one unless we have another Pearl Harbor. And then within a year, 9/11. Within a year, 9/11. They basically tell you what they're going to do. And then they do it and they're like, oh my God, this was so unexpected. These Muslim extremists have got to be stopped. And then it turns out that most of the information given that day by the mainstream media was just a bunch of bullshit. And that 6 out of the 10 9/11 commission assigned to, analyze, among other things, the events on September 11, 2001. 6 out of the 10 said things aren't adding up. We need to go further. We need to look further. Things aren't adding up. This doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense because Flight 93 was shot down. More information verifying that this morning, prior to my program on the Chronicles, the Bill Cooper Chronicles that are played off hours, and when there's not a live program on, Bill Cooper, his work gets streamed out, and Maeve Russell, who he also said this morning, and I've never really thought much about Maeve Russell. It's just that, you listen to her broadcast and she is, got her finger on the pulse of so much, just so much of the information right there. And then, Bill Cooper, mentioned her and said, that she was killed because she got too close to the situation. Does anybody know in the chat room? I've not done too much research on Maeve Russell. What was her untimely demise? How did that come about? If anybody knows. Dan, don't call me Bill Cooper, put a picture of a Tasmanian devil in there. He's evidently a fan of devils from Tasmania. Vince, good morning. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat room. But Vince was a Navy SEAL. He was the governor. Yeah, what happened to Maeve Russell? I don't know. I guess I could do that right now, but I'm kind of on a roll here. But Der Spiegel added a little bit more to the government, the NSA spying on the Chinese government, and on the website, the Der Spiegel site, the American government conducted a major intelligence offensive against China, with targets including the Chinese government and the networking company Huawei, who I guess I'm saying it right. According to the documents from the former NSA worker Edward Snowden that have been viewed by Spiegel, among the American intelligence services targets were former Chinese President Hu Jintao and Chinese trade ministry banks, as well as telecommunications companies. But the NSA made a special effort to target Huawei with 150,000 employees and $28 billion in annual revenues. The company is the world's second largest network equipment supplier. Over here, it's Cisco. Over there, it's Huawei. Apparently. At the beginning of 2009, the NSA began an extensive operation referred to internally as Shot Giant against the company, which is considered a major competitor to U.S.-based Cisco. The company produces smartphones and tablets, but also mobile phone infrastructure, a wide area LANs, routers, and fiber optic cable. Kind of technology that is decisive in the NSA's battle for data supremacy. A special unit with the United States Intelligence Agency succeeded in infiltrating Huawei's network and copied a list of 1,400 customers as well as internal documents providing training to engineers on the use of Huawei products, among other things. And of course, the source, as I said, the source code was breached. According to the top secret NSA presentation, NSA workers not only succeeded in accessing the email archive, but also the secret security code of individual Hawaii products. Software source code is the holy grail of computer companies because Hawaii directed all mail traffic from its employees through a central office in Shenzhen, where the NSA had infiltrated the network. The Americans were able to read a large share of the email sent by company workers. I mean, that's enough to piss anybody off over I mean, all these things, the spying on all these other countries, is really truly making us look so incredibly bad in the world theater. And I'm pretty sure that is, that is the goal. May was hit with a fast onset cancer and died on October 3rd, 1988. She was 66. And I believe she was out of, California. She was, Carmel, was it? Or close in that area. Anyway. As I said, Der Spiegel's got a little bit more of the information that, and then of course this in conjunction with what last week's story was about, the U.S. basically giving up its majority, I would imagine, control over our internet to, ICANN, and nothing in that one article said the UN, but there are ties to the UN. They want, they want the internet to be more, even though the Department of Defense supposedly created it. Have your own internet. Don't take our internet. Carmel, I think it was, yeah. Yeah, and she did say Nazi quite a bit. But, there's a lot of deception back then, too, man. People just now realizing that, that history, well, I'm not going to say just now in this time frame, but our history has definitely been rewritten, and demons, if the media says somebody's a demon, chances are they're not. Chances are they were trying to do something good, or they were trying to stave off a insidious influence. And that's most likely the case. If the U.S. media says somebody's a nice guy, like our buddy from who just died, Mandela, then he was a scumbag. And we find out that that's the case. U.S. media says somebody's good, they're bad. So just think the opposite of whatever the media tells you, and you'll be closer to the truth than you know. All right. I wanted to talk about, police are keeping quiet about this cell tracking technology. The project name Stingray. And what it is apparently a suitcase-sized cell tower simulator that will pull your information in, your phone in, making it, a hub where they can more easily get your phone call data and your text or emails or whatever. But here's the thing. Whoever's using these things and who's ever pulling this information in, if you're anywhere near this thing, it's going to fry you. So it's not good for you. But if you're a scumbag whose job is to spy on people, no questions asked, then maybe you should fry. Maybe you should fry, baby. Let's go into the article here. This is AP. The police across the country may be intercepting phone calls or text messages to find suspects using a technology tool known as Stingray, but they are refusing to turn over the details about its use or heavily censoring files when they do. Police say Stingray, a suitcase-sized device that pretends it's a cell tower, is useful for catching criminals. But that's about all they'll say. We gotta get the bad guys. We don't spy on good people. Well, there aren't any good people because everybody's a terrorist. So, sorry. For example, they won't disclose details about contracts with the device manufacturer, Harris Corporation, insisting that they are protecting both police tactics and commercial secrets. The secrecy at times imposed by non-disclosure agreements signed by police, blah, 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 red tape, ad nauseum. Let's see here. The Stingray device tricks all cell phones in an area into electronically identifying themselves and transmitting data to police rather than the nearest phone company's tower. Because documents about stingrays are regularly censored, it's not immediately clear what information the device could capture, such as the contents of phone conversations, text messages. What they routinely do capture based on how they configure or how often they might be used. In one rare court case involving the device, the FBI acknowledged in 2011 that so-called cell site simulator technology affects innocent users in the area where it's operated, not just a suspect police are seeking. All right. Revelations about surveillance programs run by the Federal National Security Agency have driven a sustained debate since last summer on the balance between privacy and government intrusion. Classified NSA documents leaked to news organizations showed the NSA was collecting telephone records, emails, and video chats of millions of Americans who were not suspected of crimes. The debate has extended to state and local governments. It's pretty much yet another aspect of the insidious system that we are just, most of us are just sitting back and saying, hey, you know, I got nothing to hide. I got nothing to hide. Yeah, that's right. You don't have anything to hide. You're an absolute blank slate. And when you say that, you should probably be put down. Sorry, but sick of this cowardness. Like Joe Piscopo, I'm from Jersey. Let them do whatever they want to do. I ain't got nothing to hide. I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm Joe Piscopo. Meh. I'm from Jersey. So, March tornado drought may set record, right? So we got tornadoes not happening. So I guess that's good. As I said, Hillary calls for a mass movement on climate change. Tempe, Arizona, former president and sexual predator Bill Clinton on the left listens as former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton speaks during a student conference for the Clinton Global Initiative University. Blah, 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 blah. Clinton wants mass movement on climate change. Of course, she's campaigning now. So let's tug on the climatic heartstrings of the youth. Medusa, aka Hillary, says young people understand the significant threat of climate change. Oh no, they're knuckleheads. Yeah, they don't care. So right there, most young people don't really give a shit because it's pretty much bullshit. But young people understand, she'll speak for all of them. And that she hopes that there will be a mass movement that demands political change. That's right. That's right. That's right. The potential 2016 presidential candidate says at a Clinton Global Initiative University panel, another fake philanthropic organization like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation and all these other ones where they're tax havens and they do insidious, they plan insidious things like paralyzing thousands and thousands of children. While saying, "Oh, we're keeping them healthy. We're vaccinating them to protect them from paralysis." Meanwhile, giving them paralysis, but that never gets reported. It never gets reported on platforms that would make a difference. It gets reported by. And what I want to also get to is what they're doing with this Schumer, the devil, and Dianne Swinestein. I can't take credit for that. Swinestein, somebody said it yesterday in the chat room. I believe it was Akbar. I'm not sure. But Swinestein, yes, they're trying to. I don't know if you remember a few. Late last year, maybe somewhere around 7 or 8 months ago. Basically, Dianne Swinestein was saying that, all these things were coming out about her, about how she's going to benefit from all this postal property or something through her husband, right? And this information gets out. So she has to go and because this information came out, now she wants to change the way media reports. She wants to manipulate the system so that the system doesn't report all the shit that she's doing that she doesn't want people to know about. Like all of her filthy fucking ties. All the information that comes out that I've heard when Wayne Madsen reports on, he's an ex-NSA employee, and the things that he reports about and knows about these politicians and what they're actually about and what they're doing. Now, he's not the only one. There's several other ones, but Swinestein is trying to change the system so that it will not be able to or delegitimize websites or journalists and not call them real journalists. The only journalists that pig wants are the ones that are not going to report negative information about her or Chuck Schumer or any of her scumbag, filth, degenerate friends in the Senate and in the Congress. That's what she wants. She is a filthy garbage pig, and she should have been out a long time ago. But the only reason why she's in there is because she wants your fucking guns. She is a vile fucking beast. And so is Chuck Schumer. You look at him. He's the fucking devil. Not to mention a dual fucking citizen who has allegiance to a foreign country much more than here, even though he's really making a killing. He's really making a financial fucking killing like her and so many others like John McCain. These people should be fucking beheaded. They should be fucking headed. But of course, she doesn't want to be spied on, but she was all for the spying before she found out that she was being spied on. You vile, vile whore. Listen to this pig.
What do you say to people who support the right to own arms, that this is the camel's nose under the tent, and the next thing you'll be after concealed carry weapons, you'll be after other kinds of gun rights?
Well, that's just not true. It wasn't true with the prior bill that was the law for 10 years. And I just think, candidly, that dog doesn't hunt.
Why shouldn't it be true? Why wouldn't you want to go after those other laws?
Because that's not what I've done in the past, and it's not what I'm doing right now. If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it. I could not do that. The votes weren't here.
Aren't you the fucking hero? The only thing stopping her from trampling over your constitutional rights was votes. These fucking people should be headed. This is treason. And I'm sick of them. I'm sick of looking at them. I'm sick of looking at you. Fucking beast. Just sick and tired of this blatant authoritarianism that to a great extent does not get challenged. And then you never hear John McCain speak of guns and things like that because he's got to maintain that I'm a Republican when he's a liberal piece of shit. He's a flaky, scaly piece of fucking shit. Yet he's benefited and taken money over and over and over again with 12 properties. So as I said, Hillary Clinton and her global initiative to destroy and take over the world with her masters, and then grandstand when they do something. These are all vile, vile, vicious animals that they call you animals. These people should be round up and executed for what they've done. Benghazi alone, her statements on Benghazi, what does it matter? It was a stand down. They wanted those people dead because they knew something that they didn't want out. They got caught up in something, one of these covert operations that would blow the whole thing to unbelievable. It would blow the whole thing wide open. Just like the 28 pages from 9/11 that all these, certain senators and Congress people, along with the families of 9/11, are trying to get out, are trying to get red are trying to get put out there, and that would blow the fucking doors off of this fucking evil shit that continues to go on in this country. And the American people just sit back and do nothing because they think they're fucking free. I'm sorry. I can't believe the level of ignorance, and I can't believe the level of just blatant authoritarian acts that go on every time, every time by these people. They're not public servants. They're public disservants. They just destroy and bastardize everything. Matter of fact, I hope that these people just drop fucking dead. They're absolutely of no use in this country. They've got nothing, and they should be called out. They should be called out for their direct defiance of the Constitution. The direct defiance. They should be called out and at the least incarcerated. They should be incarcerated. So as I said, Hillary back on the campaign trail. If we get 4 to 8 years of this evil, okay, you're going to wish weak Obama might be in there. Actually, that's awful to even say, because he's just an extension of the Clintons. I mean, he's probably getting his directives from them, but he's getting his directives from the people that control the Clintons as well. So there's no difference. There's no difference. And then smart, intelligent people like this one black woman there's not that many black people on Fox News. But this one woman who will sit there and defend this blatant attack, this depopulation, death panel, killing machine that this Obamacare, Affordable Care Act is going to be, and is now, jobs and then people. And she sits there and defends it because she's black and Obama's black. And that's all that she needs. That's all that she needs to know. Really, truly pathetic. Absolute blind allegiance to the devil. I don't think that I had gotten that pissed off on air since I was being totally trolled that one day back on Oracle. But I mean, if you're not getting pissed off about this, there's something wrong with you. If you're not getting pissed off about this, then you better search your fucking soul, because we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. As I said, March tornado drought might be a record setter. 9 earthquakes recorded in Oklahoma in the last day. Now, is that? I'm not sure what the earthquake records are out there, or whether they are prone to them. But Fox 25 out of Oklahoma City, where it's still pretty cold out there, it looks like. 34, 31 for the high. 14 earthquakes recorded in Oklahoma since Friday. The U.S. Geological Survey has recorded 14 earthquakes in Oklahoma since about 9:30 p.m. Friday, the largest being a magnitude 4.0. There was a 4.4 or somewhere in that range in Los Angeles within the last couple weeks. The 4.0 magnitude quake was recorded at 10:05 p.m. Friday, about 7 miles south of Langston. Geologists say earthquakes of magnitude 2.5 to 3.0 are generally the smallest felt by humans. Scientists are studying why earthquakes activity has increased in Oklahoma and whether it's connected to wastewater disposal. Are they fracking in that area? Are they fracking the earth? Take that, earth. Oh, yeah. Bow, 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 bow. They're fracking the earth. You mother frackers. Anyway, the energy industry denies that the method is to blame for the increased seismic activity. What else is going on in Oklahoma? They're going after the guns out there too. All right, let's see what we got here. Again, sorry, I lost it a little bit there. Now, 9 quakes since Friday. Lady, 9 since Friday. 9, yeah. Where are they not fracking? Good question. Akbar Obama. They haven't fracked Mars yet. Yeah. Better not frack the moon. It's hollow. The moon matrix. Anyway, that's another show. Christie tells a 3-year-old at town hall he's tired of the damn snow, but not Krispy Kreme donuts. Let's see what we got here. All right. I got 3 mice going here, and I'm like grabbing the wrong ones. All right, so we got inside the NSA's secret effort to hunt and hack system administrators. Okay, that's another big one as well. And this is from The Interceptor. Ryan Gallagher and Peter Moss. Across the world, people who work as system administrators keep computer networks in order, and this has turned them into unwitting targets for the National Security Agency for simply doing their jobs. According to a secret document provided by Mr. Snowden, the agency tracks down the private email and Facebook accounts of system administrators, or sysadmins, as they are often called, before hacking their computers to gain access to the networks they control. The document consists of several posts. One of them is titled "I Hunt System" or Sysadmins, that were published in 2012 on an internal discussion board hosted on the agency's classified servers. All right. Classified post reveals how the NSA official aspired to create a database that would function as an international hit list of system admins to potentially target. Yet the document makes clear that the admins are not suspected of any criminal activity. They are targeted only because they control access to networks the agency wants to infiltrate. Who better to target than the person that already has the keys to the kingdom? So if you're a system admin, you're pretty much on the NSA's list. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg this week, as I said, he says that Obama's steps on NSA spying are not enough. All right, and it turns out that, what do we got here? And the reason for it was Zuckerberg's comments followed reports that the NSA may have infected computers with malware and disguised itself as a Facebook server to gain access to users' data for spying, according to documents leaked by former government contractor Edward Snowden to the online news site, The Interceptor. Now, here's another thing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that still don't believe, and I don't blame them for not, that Snowden is not what his story is not legitimate. Or if it is legitimate, they're using this to. Now look at this. How many times have we heard in these articles that former government contractor, according to documents leaked by this guy, the Chinese spying the Hawaii as a result of documents from Snowden. Right here, Zuckerberg. Okay. Now it's affecting him and his lifestyle, even after he called a lot of his or most of his users dumb fucks for putting out all this information about themselves. They've got nothing to hide. Zuckerberg and 5 other internet and technology executives were invited to the White House yesterday to discuss National Security Agency spying following revelations the NSA may have infected millions of computers globally with malware to advance surveillance. Quote, while the U.S. government has taken helpful steps to reform its surveillance practices, right, there are simply not enough, Facebook Zuckerberg said in a statement released after the meeting. People around the globe deserve to know that their information is secure, and Facebook will keep urging the U.S. government to be more transparent about its practices and more protective of civil liberties. Now, see, this is just window dressing to me. Zuckerberg knows that this is going on, yet somebody said to him, you got to act like you're outraged about this. And then there's got to be a meeting, and you're going to go there, and you're going to act like you're pissed because Facebook's integrity is on the line here now. I think it's all a window dressing. I think that he's not pissed off at all. I think he's a total puppet for the system, and that they can destroy him at any time they want. I think that they put him. I think that he was put in that position to do that. I think he was funded. I think he's part of, he's maybe one of these Greenbergs that the Dallas Goldbug is talking about. None of that stuff's off the table, whatever you think about it. This Wolfgang Halbig is being said that he is not who he is supposed to be, or he's not. He's actually someone else. He's not this guy. So if anybody has any information on that, I mean, when I heard that, I thought that's pretty positive. It's a positive thing that this school safety guy is coming out, but does he really exist? Might have to get the gold bug on. Hey, I gave him a fair interview last time. Let's see. UCY.TV, Broadcasting Network, Cold Reality Radio, about halfway through. It's my pleasure to be here today. Hope you caught some of my comedy and then my rant about the filth and scum filth and scum. Swinestein, Schumer, McCain, Lindsey Graham, these so-called Republicans. Just garbage. Scum people. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. Is this going to open? Let's see what we got. Anyway, as I said, UCY.TV, Cold Reality. Here it is. I guess that's the alarm. Why is this not getting routed through here? The sound. You didn't hear that, I don't think. I don't think I set this thing the right way the last time. Input, you're definitely hearing my voice, or I would have heard that by now. Input. Oh, maybe that's it. Output. I don't know if that's the case. Is that it? Let's see. I did change something here. I went and jammed with a couple people a little while back, and I took my Mac to rock and roll. Oh, courtesy of Vile Monkey. Wondered if this is, why is that doing it? Let's see, we got that. Is that the same thing? I just clicked on something here. Did that change the anything with my voice? Anything changed with my voice on that? You heard it the second time. More prevalent. All right, so everything good there? Everything still rolling through? All right, I'm assuming that I am. I'm assuming that I am. So what I'm saying is, you must unlearn what you have learned. You must unlearn what you have learned. And that's the key. Unlearning what you have learned. Unlearning it. All right. Okay, man. All right. Let's head over to blacklisted news, man. Any changes over at the drug report? Oh, Ukraine fears Putin ready to attack. Oh my goodness. Putin is the next Hitler. Yes, and this is the AFP. Yahoo says Ukraine's Western-backed leaders voiced fears on Sunday of an imminent Russian invasion of the eastern industrial heartland following the fall of their last airbase in Crimea to defiant Kremlin troops. So that's on the table right now. We might be going into a hot war. It's a hot war. This chair I promise I promise that I will oil it at some point. It's a hot war. A hot war. It's a hot war. It's a hot war. It's a hot war. All right, the hot war is on. Nukes are in the air. We've got breaking headlines here. As I said, the Syrian jet shot down by Turkey. A Syrian fighter plane has been shot down on the border with Turkey. The leader of Ham is like, we got to get in on this. London Telegraph, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the Turkish prime minister and U.S. Western puppet, said that the plane was brought down after it violated Turkish airspace. Speaking at a rally of his supporters in northwest Turkey ahead of March 30, the local elections, he said, the Syrian plane violated our airspace. Our F-16s took off and hit this plane. Now, I guess there's a reason why we haven't heard that much about Syria lately. We know that it's still going on, but from what I've heard, I heard an interview the other day. I never miss a chance to listen to George Galloway, and it so happened that he was on with everybody's favorite Alex Jones. That's a messy sound. Hold on a second. I gotta kill the line through on this so it doesn't. I'm gonna stop the pass through, man. So anyway, George Galloway, really interesting interview the other day. It's always good to hear him. I don't know what people's thoughts are on George Galloway. I think he's a pretty cool guy. He's and for all you anti-Israel people out there, he always kind of has the message that that he knows that they pretty much took that land, and he knows what they're doing over there. Galloway knows what they're doing over there. It's apparent, It's apparent. Sorry about all the racket here. But he is, in fact, doing a documentary about what's his face, Tony Blair. That's going to be coming out soon. Something about I killed the killing of Tony Blair, and not him killing him, but what went on over there with Iraq and all that stuff when they said it was okay to go into Iraq and do what they did in there, and that's all not ancient history, but history that should tell us that anybody who was for that is basically a murderer, and anybody who was against it, most likely Ron Paul and George Galloway over there do not have the blood on their hands. But it doesn't matter at this point to most of these people, because they really don't care about human life. And there were no weapons of mass destruction, the whole deal. So just one thing led into another. But as we move down the road, we find that every one of our fears about all these different wars was legitimate, because Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11, and but it was just part of the plan, the neocon, Jewish neocon, like Bernstein said on Morning Joe, the Jewish neocons and their world domination, Wolfowitz and the likes, Rumsfeld. So it's not, as I said, it's a history that is, as we go down, just like 9/11, as we get further and further away from it, and as we get newer generations of people, young people that weren't around at the time, they're going to be indoctrinated into that event. They're just like they're going to be indoctrinated into this lie of climate change, global warming. And they're not going to have anything to base it off of unless they have parents that aren't retards and or misinformed. Sorry, it's a little presumptuous of me to think that everybody's retarded if they don't know what's going on. We have many reasons to be positive about a lot of the stuff that's going on. But at the same time, we also should be mindful and stay vigilant, right? Because these people are all about taking this next generation and molding it into fear-based, the war on terror, the war on drugs, the war on everything, but it's really a war on you. Pink Floyd's Roger Waters, what's his name? Fires back about the anti-Semitic, them calling him anti-Semitic. Confronting recent criticism of his support for Palestinian rights and the BDS movement in two furious personal open letters, Pink Floyd Roger Waters rips the crude pattern of equating his and other criticisms of the policies of this government of Israel with anti-Semitism, viewing it as perhaps a reaction to the fact that BDS is gaining ground day by day and year by year all over the world. Now, I don't know too much about this BDS, but I don't think it's a disease. What is this? Hopefully they'll break it down. Year by year all over the world, arguing that dehumanization of the other is the root of all injustice and oppression, and that the tree of fear and bigotry bears only bitter fruits. Waters cites the death of his father fighting the Nazis in Italy to chide critics, especially those penning poison pieces about Waters' anti-Semitic stench with, "Do not presume to preach to me, my father's son, about anti-Semitism or human rights." Well, isn't that always the case when you're talking about anyone who brings up reality when it comes to what the Jews are doing over there in Israel to their neighbors, who they just look at as cattle and scum anyway. So Yeah, this Mac has got just unstable on this table. Anyway, so he gets labeled. He gets labeled a bad guy and an anti-Semite because he believes that that what's going on and the inequality and what's going. I mean, he's paying attention. Americans aren't. They're not paying attention, right? So, and that's the case with America. They're not paying attention. They're right with Israel no matter what because the media told them to. So, more power. Okay, quote from Waters says, "Look to your own house and the human rights abuses and racism of the Israeli government you defend. If Jews and Palestinians are to live in peace, then there must be a real acknowledgement of the fact that Israel is denying freedom to Palestinians and abusing the term anti-Semitism to intimidate people like me into silence simply because we seek a better and equal future for Palestinians and Jews alike." So very, very well put by the anti-Semite known as Roger Waters. If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. And of course, over in Israel, they say that to the Palestinians. And then even if they eat their pudding, they don't get any fucking meat. Nile River Dam threatens war between Egypt and Ethiopia. What is there? Are the Jews standing on the dam? What's going on over there? When Egypt's then President Mohamed Morsi said in June of 2013 that all options, including military intervention, were on the table if Ethiopia continued to develop dams on the Nile River, many dismissed it as posturing. But experts claim Cairo is deadly serious about defending this and its historic water allotment. And if Ethiopia proceeds with construction of what is set to become Africa's largest hydroelectric dam, a military strike is not off the table or out of the question. It's weird. Am I breaking through? This is not coming up. Let's show all windows. Line in. There it is. Is it going out? I don't think this is working, maybe. All right. We've got a report that came to my attention last night about Facebook and Monsanto having the same shareholders. I guess that's not a surprise. From No More Fake News, 7 of the top 12 shareholders of Facebook and Monsanto are identical, even more to the point. 3 of the top 5 shareholders are the same. Top shareholder at the moment in Monsanto is the Vanguard Group, which is number 2 on the list of top Facebook shareholders. All right, so that is, again, not to be, not a surprise. Not a surprise. But of course, got to get back to the real scum, filth, and villainy that goes on here. Let's see if we can play more from this rancid authoritarian pig.
So yeah, I think
we'll give this a second so this video will cut through.
I'll send a follow-up email.
You always got to wait for the commercial. You always got to wait. Doesn't say on here how long it's going to take, so I just have to guess, I guess. Freedom for me, but not for thee. Dianne Feinstein, the CIA, and you. Let's see what we got here. So from Andrew.
A long simmering dispute between one of the country's most powerful senators, a Democrat and the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and the nation's most famous spy agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, broke into the open view in a very big way this week. Listen up.
Besides the constitutional implication, the CIA's search may also have violated the Fourth Amendment, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, as well as Executive Order 12333.
As far as the allegations of, CIA hacking into, Senate computers, nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, we wouldn't do that.
There you have it. Joining me now, former Indiana Democratic Senator and Fox News contributor Evan Bayh, and former Michigan Republican Congressman Pete Hoekstra. Good afternoon to both of you. Good to see you. Very unusual to see Senator Dianne Feinstein make a remark like that. She has been very much in the camp of intelligence and the need for intelligence, and a supporter of intelligence. What do you make of it?
Well, she was obviously exercised about a couple of things. First, she's cared about this investigation into the so-called enhanced interrogation techniques for some time. And it's been going on for some time. So I think there's the frustration is built by the fact that it's not been released to the public here for a period of time. Now you've got this internal dispute going back and forth between the staffs, and it was referred to the Justice Department. My guess is that she was worried about the potential risk to her staff and that what she viewed as an attempt to intimidate her staff, and that's why she spoke out. But the last thing I'd say, the unfortunate part here is they're both good people. John Brennan is a good man. He's got a lot on his plate. Dianne, who I serve with on the committee, is a good chairman. I just wish everybody would take a step back, take a deep breath, try and resolve this so we can focus on things like Crimea, Syria, Iran.
Right. Congressman Hoekstra, is that your interpretation as well, or something close to it?
It's close to that. Number one, I don't think this ever needed to get to this point. This could have and should have been a phone call between John Brennan and Senator Feinstein a few months ago. Leon Panetta, Michael Hayden. I served with both of those former directors of the CIA. With this kind of issue, they would have picked up the phone. They would have said, Pete, we've got a problem. We've got to work through this. This potentially compromises sources and methods. Let's find a solution. It would never have gotten to this point. It could have been avoided. This is, I think the CIA director, John Brennan, believes he needs to protect his sources and methods and his people within the CIA. I think Senator Feinstein, at least the Republicans, believe that this is a partisan investigation, so they haven't gotten on board. It's just a signal that there's a lot of deep problems going on here.
It came to light last week that White House counsel Catherine Rumler is trying to mediate this impasse. Is that the right route to go, Senator Bayh?
Well, ultimately, this lands in the Oval Office at the president's feet because John Brennan works for him and he needs to maintain a relationship with Dianne Feinstein, who's one of his allies in the United States Senate. So if she can serve as a goodwill emissary, I'm all for it because, as I said, these are good people. We've got other bigger things to deal with, and we need to get this resolved and put behind us.
Saxby Chambliss, the ranking member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, suggested this needs to be handled by an independent body. What do you make of that, Congressman Hoekstra?
Well, number one, I'd go with the mediation route. I think that clearly there are, as the senator suggested, lots of other issues that the CIA and the Senate Intelligence Committee need to be working together on. The CIA needs to be establishing the strategy. The intelligence committees need to be doing the appropriate oversight. They need to be giving, the latitude and the lanes of the road that the CIA can be operating on. As the senator said, there's lots of critical problems. They need to be focusing on those things. This whole investigation, this is about events that happened 13 years ago that Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill and the Bush administration jointly approved and set the direction for. There's some question about whether this is really an in-depth and an appropriate investigation at this time.
Senator Bayh, I know you wanted to remark.
I think the congressman raises a good point. These practices, enhanced interrogation techniques, were stopped 5 or 6 years ago. So there's now a national consensus that we don't do this sort of thing anymore. So what you have here is the committee and the staff, understandably, feeling that the institutional role of the intelligence function and the Senate Intelligence Committee is important and needs to be robust. On the other hand, John Brennan has an agency he's got to run, and you've got to be concerned about work product, preliminary work product. How do they function if all that can eventually be made public? It's difficult. So there's some legitimacy on both sides, and that's why if the President's Counsel can serve to mediate this and get it off the front pages of the newspaper, I think we'd all be a lot better off.
Former Senator Evan Bayh, former Congressman Pete Hoekstra, thank you both. Good to see you both.
All right. So Feinstein doesn't care until it happens to her. So everything's fine. Everything's dandy unless it happens to her, unless she becomes, the focus of the CIA snooping. And of course they're lying because the main portion of all of this surveillance, the main reason and the main focal point, should I say, is against the people that can really bring the system down. And that's the politicians. The politicians have the power to really look at something and then turn it, the system, what government is supposed to do, against, the usurpers that are screwing this government. The areas of the CIA that are doing things that are bad for us, the areas of the FBI that are doing things that are bad for us. The way that these politicians speak is that the CIA can do no wrong. They need to focus on this. They need to focus on that. They shouldn't be focusing on this. It's bullshit. It's total bullshit. Total bullshit. And that's why the spying is going internal into looking at Feinstein, even though she's a total lapdog for AIPAC and all the people and the Jews that put her in power and keep her in power. They don't want her going anywhere. Because if she could get 51 votes in that Senate, that would have been it. Your constitutional, rights, your right to protect yourself through any means necessary should not be infringed upon. But the CIA and the FBI and all these and the NSA are looking internally at all of these senators, congressmen, to make sure that they are not planning a coup against the system. Because if they find something and then they know and they listen, boy, it's over. This congressman had an accident. This one's been diagnosed with a fast acting cancer. And then once the others see what happened to this person, then they just shut up. It's all about control. All right. Bill Clinton identified in lawsuits against his former friend and pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, who had regular orgies at his Caribbean compound that the former president visited multiple times, if you know what I'm saying. Cue a porn guitar solo. That's right. That's how I like it, baby. That's how I like it. Hillary don't do it like that. Matter of fact, Hillary don't do it. All right, so let's take a look at Bill Clinton, the sexual predator and former friend of a pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein. The Daily Mail says Clinton was also apparently friends with a woman who collected naked pictures of underage girls for Epstein to choose from. Former president was friends with Epstein, a financier who was arrested in 2008 for soliciting underage prostitutes. A new lawsuit has revealed how Clinton took multiple trips to Epstein's private island where he kept young women as sex slaves. Clinton was also apparently friends with a woman who collected, of course, as I said, the naked pictures for the underage girls for the Scumstein to choose from. He hasn't cut ties with that woman, however, and invited her to Chelsea's wedding. Comes as friends now fear that these bullet points are screwed up. That if Hillary Clinton runs for president in 2016, all of their old family family's old scandals will be brought to the forefront. How would that be great if Bill's promiscuity and overall sexual predatorness stops her from being president in 2016. Bill is a sexual predator. He's gonna screw Hillary over in 2016. And I'm gonna smile when it happens. All right, so Epstein has a host of famous friends, including Prince Andrew, who stayed at his New York mansion after his arrest. A new lawsuit has revealed the extent of former President Clinton's friendship with a fundraiser who was later jailed for having sex with an underage prostitute. Bill Clinton's relationship with Epstein, who served time in 2008 for his illegal sexual partners, included up million trips, included multiple trips to the one-time billionaire's private island in the Caribbean, where underage girls were allegedly kept as sex slaves. The National Enquirer has released new details about the two men's friendship, which seems to have ended abruptly around the time of Epstein's arrest. Yes, and there he is. There he is, man. Let me see if I can get the tonight. Hold on. I want to get it into the chat room so that people can see the filth that Bill Clinton is. How come I don't hear myself? Oh, that's probably because I got turned down. Okay. All right, let's see. Am I signed in here? There he is. Hi, I'm Epstein or something. I'm a sexual predator like Bill. I'm a sexual predator like Bill. Hello, are you looking for a sexual predator? I'm an excellent sexual predator. My name's Epstein. And here's Billy Boy. Hello, Billy. Hello, Billy. Why don't you come down to my island? I've got some sex slaves here for you, President, Bob Jones. Don't say my name too loud. I want to come down and enjoy your sex slaves, but I need a name. I need a cover name. All right. My friend Bill Smith's coming down. Prepare the sex slaves. Meh. What utter filth. And, okay, yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, another one of these documentaries that George Galloway and Max Kaiser are working on is something Kenny talking about Ken Lay, who evidently faked his own death and is living down in South America, or he didn't fake it himself. He had, his friends, the Bushes, who he's living in Paraguay on one of the Bush's compounds down there, right next to a U.S. military base. And apparently Ken Lay is still alive. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout. George Galloway. If anybody out there is not a fan of George Galloway, let me know. I think he's probably Rand Paul type. And I know Rand Paul is always going over to Israel and standing at the wall. It's like, he's like, oh, I got to do this. These Jews, God, this is so gross. But, he has to do it to make it look like, but he will not become president because he's too constitution based. But you never know. See how the media destroyed Ron Paul, even though he was dominant. They just destroyed it. They destroyed the man. Not politically, but they just destroyed him, presidential race wise. Presidentially speaking. Anyway. Gotta get something for this chair. It's a mess, huh? It's a squeaky, bloody mess is what it is. Let's see what we got there. I'm interested in a particular medical topic called epigenetics, because for years we have been sold on the fact that that all of these diseases that we get are genetic. So if your mother or your father had it, that you're going to get it, and that there's no other cause for it. It's like a little sideshow thing that goes along with the takeover of the American Medical Association. I don't even know it was a takeover. I think, we've been occupied so long by scum and filth and villainy, like the Rockefellers and their manipulation of the system with the Carnegie and what is that report? The report, the guy they sent around, I can't remember his name right now, but some Jewish guy sent him around to get the information from all these healthcare facilities, and then offered them money. The slow takeover of it. But I read an article a little while ago that that really kind of made me understand. Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Jordan.
The AMA was set up to stifle chiropractors and homeopaths and any kind of normal medicine.
That's right. I can't remember what the name of the report is. I said it any number of times. But Jordan DeYoung here, he's going to be joining me for the rest of the hour. We're going to be talking about health-related stuff, and I haven't done this in a little while, and I really want to get back into talking about health-related things. Talk about this epigenetics that
I heard that you say that. And did you watch the training videos or anything that Bruce Lipton put out, or?
No. I actually was listening to some one of the other networks over there, and of course we hear this guy, Dr. Joel Wallach, and of course he's associated with. Actually, I don't know that he's associated directly with longevity, but he has a book coming out. He's got a show called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and he's got a lot of information there. And, people call up his program and they say, hey, I've got, cancer. This woman said she's got non-Barrett's lymphoma or something. I think it was his last episode. So I was sitting there and I said, let me listen to some of this, because I hadn't listened to him in a while. And, there was just a lot of information. And then it turns out that gluten, and I've said this before, that gluten is the cause of many diseases, many conditions. Even this non-Barrett's lymphoma that this woman has. And, just the thing here is that, that genes dictate what roads that your body can take, but not necessarily will take if you get the right kind of nutrition, which we've been...
Well, it's not just nutrition. Bruce Lipton started this whole thing out, and he was looking at identical twins.
Okay.
The identical twins would die an average of, I think, more than 10 years apart.
Okay.
So right there's something really fishy with the genes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what you eat has an impact on that. There could be microorganism stressors. But Bruce Lipton's big thing is a Psych-K belief balancing system.
Right.
So basically, if you believe you're going to die, you're going to die.
Right. So yeah, definitely the mind has a lot of power over the body, no doubt.
Yeah, and he discovered where protein sheaths where they were getting worn down on the DNA and exposing the DNA.
Right.
Where normally there's this protein coating over the DNA that protects it from any damage. And when you're under duress, this can become vulnerable.
Okay, and then I also remember hearing something not too long ago through something about the HIV virus, that it has some kind of cloaking mechanism, which is some kind of protein barrier, something that it uses to hide itself from the immune system.
Yeah,
somewhere in the same category there.
Not really. I mean, Bruce Lipton is mostly on like mental states, and you say certain things that your subconscious and conscious minds can understand. It has to be worded correctly,
right.
Which is another big thing of his work. And you would just say these statements. And that 103-year-old client that I had, one of the things that he did was he had some basic belief statements or affirmations, whatever you call them. Mm-hmm. But they were extremely simple, and that's kind of a key with them.
Right. So definitely the mind-body connection is incredible. There's no doubt that it has a strong effect on the body. And then, of course, nutrition here. And Wallach brought up a point that they did a lot of this human genome testing.
Yeah.
Back in like 1960 or 62. And he said even in lieu of this testing, they've not been able to really cure anything, or they haven't cured it, because why cure people in a system where they've been totally manipulated and deceived by disease, and mainly their doctor. Because
it's the whole thing. It's the media. It's probably the biggest problem, I think. And
because everybody you talk to, it's genetic, like my guy that I work with, he has just recently had and his eye was his retina was detaching, and
right.
He said that he had it like on the other eye a little while ago. Bad to the point where he actually hit somebody, or not at a high speed hit, but his vision has been. But he's convinced that everything, and everybody's convinced that it's all genetic.
Well, yeah, but if they've studied zinc deficiencies, and if they go back 3 generations and there's a zinc deficiency, you have a harder time uptaking or utilizing that mineral. I think that's across the board for anything. So that's kind of epigenetics exposed. And then it would, degrade the DNA, or de-evolve us, or de-evolve that little piece of DNA, to the point of weakness.
Yeah. I was driving home last night, and I was listening to it, and there was a number of key things, and I was like, I want to talk about this. So there's a book coming out, from Wallach called about epigenetics and how, and he goes in like in a deal when he says, when you're in the womb and you're developing as a the developing fetus, if you're not getting all of these like different minerals and different things like that over time we can it can cause, people to have health issues, thank God my family has been, relatively well. I mean, up until the point where my mom, who was, 77 at the time, and my dad, who was 84, they died within a week of each other. My dad had esophageal cancer. My mother had a brain tumor. So, aside from that, and, living 77 years, I mean, wow. I mean, that's
decent.
That's a decent amount of time. Like 30, that's like me living another 35 years or so to get to that point. So that, I think that would be, it's what you do with it too, I wish that they had done more. I wish that they had experienced more and had more success, like personal, like success and stuff like that. But, people back then, as I said, my dad was a World War II veteran. So he, once he kind of, his hip was kind of shattered and they didn't really do anything for him. They just kind of they just let the hip, because it was fractured in like 5 places, they just kind of let it heal itself. And when the body, to secure that area of the body, it just started to calcify to hold it together. So for pretty much most of the rest of his life, he had that hip, condition. So he didn't, but he lived to be 84.
There's not a lot of those World War II guys left around.
Yeah. It's getting
a shame.
It's getting to that point. Well, the guy from, that was, the USS Liberty, there was this, guy when I went out to Freedom Palooza. He makes the rounds. I forget what his name is, but he was actually on the USS Liberty when Israel, started to attack it, and LBJ was like, I want that thing on the bottom of the ocean. That traitor's piece of garbage, LBJ. But we just, look at these people. LBJ, look at Clinton, him, and all his sexual predatory behavior, and now being linked to this Epstein guy and all the pedophilia and stuff. I mean, how much is even going to get to NBC Nightly News? Just
none of it.
It's unbelievable, the control that they have over this system. And last night I'm listening to UCY, and there was this, I think it was like in the 8:00 hour. I forget what show it was. There was a guy on there that was read a book by Jim Garrison. Maybe somebody in the chat room can establish who that was, but he talked to Jim Garrison. This guy had a show that was very popular, and he said he called Jim Garrison up and he said, I just read your book and I want you to be on the show. He said, it's never going to happen. And he said, what, you don't want to be on my show? He's like, but he didn't really go into detail. And then he said, listen, I can, do it. And then, he convinced him to come onto the show. And then before Garrison was on the show, his show was canceled. Who was that anyway? If anybody in the chat room from last night heard that.
Mr. Hat.
And there's Mr. Garrison in the chat room. It's like, I'm talking about Jim Garrison with, anyway. So I'm really interested in this epigenetics, and you were talking about this guy Lipton.
Yeah, Bruce Lipton.
Bruce Lipton. Is he? What is?
He's the whole guy who, as far as I can figured out that there's this link, or he was the guy 10 years ago that was talking about epigenetics, anyways.
Right. Yeah. Because as I said, I remember listening to or reading this one article about how them being able to label everything as being a genetic thing, they have been able to control more and more of, just the narrative on health.
Yeah, and they've got more tests to test your, like, different genetic markers that they think are associated with certain things. And, you know, they might be, but the epigenetics has to be there. Usually the rest of the biology or poisons have to be there as well.
And do we actually really still believe, anybody out there, that what's the actress had a double mastectomy? You know, Angelina Jolie. Do you actually believe that she did that as a result of that gene study that?
Yeah, I kind of do believe that she did that.
Wow, that's. Yeah. John Barber. I'm going to have to look that up.
Well, like, the environmental factors might include cell phones with breasts, because with the brain you have an 80% shield an adult does. With a developed skull, a normal skull shields 80% of the radiation. The breast doesn't shield any of the radiation from a cell phone. And how many people have seen women with cell phones in their bras, or, you know, right on top of it? Or
true. Yeah. It's like, I look at that and I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? You know, people just don't even get it. They don't even realize how they're addicted to it. And then, like, I think Louis C.K. said, you know, you people that can't just sit there and just be alone with themselves. They're so insecure that they have to be, you know, communicating with somebody constantly, even if that person isn't even on the other end, you know?
Yep. You got that clip?
You sent a clip over?
No, I thought you were going to play a clip of your man there.
The epigenetics? Maybe I can find something on. No, it was just, he's over on GCN. I know that
the Lipton one is pretty long. It's a 1-hour show, but, although it's a training. And I'm sure these people paid quite a bit of money to go there to do this training, and he goes through muscle testing and how the whole system works. It's nice, but it's on YouTube for free now. Yeah, that the whole Psych K belief balance system, each statement is in the Zyto software, and I can't run that on anyone because that scan will infuriate people.
Right.
There's all kinds of statements about God, any of those will inflame somebody.
Right.
Any of them. And then there's statements about money, and it's like, yeah.
Well, here's a little bit of this. It's called Epigenetics, the death of the genetic theory of disease transmission.
Okay.
The views expressed by Dr. Joel Wallach and others on the following live paid program represent opinions of the participants only. Urges you to call the program
Joel Wallach.
Hello and welcome to Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Dr. Joel Wallach, your host, a veterinarian and physician. And I'm here for kids and baby boomers and seniors who don't want to die at 75.5 like their parents and grandparents. I'm here for kids and baby boomers and seniors who don't want to be sick and miserable for the last 15 to 20 years of their life like their parents and grandparents. I am a conservative, and a lot of people say I treat them like dogs, but they do seem to get better. Now, if you have a personal health challenge you want to ask about, if you have a health challenge of a friend, a loved one, a workmate, or if you want to talk about medical politics or the home-based business opportunity, give us a call toll-free at 1-888-379-25. A lot of good news today. I've been able to come up with a title of one of my new CDs coming out here, and it'll be followed fairly quickly in a couple of months with a book by the same title, Epigenetics, 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 and then the subtitle is The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. They must appreciate in the days of the Greek gods, everybody thought, and even in ancient China, everybody thought the disease was caused by vapors and evil liquors in the body and so on. And that's why they would bleed people, to get rid of these evil spirits and all that kind of stuff. Then comes along Pasteur, and he set off a whole thing in motion with a theory which everybody said, all diseases are caused by bacteria. And then it wasn't long that Pasteur discovered there were other organisms that cause disease that pass through these bacterial filters called viruses. And so it went from spirits and evil liquors to bacteria, then to viruses. And then when they realized that viruses didn't cause everything, then, it's the genetic theory. Then genetics cause all diseases. Well, I've been working on this since 1949. I knew that you could solve problems the medical doctors thought were genetic when I was 9 years old by taking vitamins and minerals. I've been taking the 90 essential nutrients twice a day since I was 9. Okay, since I was 9 years old, 64 years. And as a result...
Just a quick thing. I mean, when you see this guy, he's like 70 something, and you wouldn't know it by looking at him, and you wouldn't know it by just even listening to his voice.
No, you can't tell.
I've come up with the cause, prevention, and cure of many different diseases, including cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy. That sounds kind of bold, but it's true. And then there's many more diseases that we've learned are preventable and curable, including type 2 diabetes, arthritis, dementias of all kinds, things like MS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's disease, lupus. All these things are preventable, they're curable. Congestive heart failure is a deficiency of a single vitamin, for goodness sakes. Okay? And so these things have been yelling about since 1949. Wrote many papers on them. The book that came out of this big NIH project with the National Institutes of Health came out in 1983. And then, of course, I've been a practicing naturopathic physician since 1978 in my residency in 1978. And then you have to appreciate that I've been considered to be one of the founders of the process or the new science called epigenetics, which are diseases that were thought to be genetic by the geneticist. Everything's genetic. It's just like everything looks like a nail to a carpenter with a hammer in his hand, right? Wants to tap everything. Well, to geneticists, everything's caused by genetics. That's why they got the government to give them $1 trillion to study the genome. Well, they mapped out the genome. They haven't solved a single problem because, guess what? You can't solve nutritional deficiency disease by changing your genes. The genes still need vitamins and minerals. That's, in fact, when Linus Pauling got his first Nobel Prize, it was for studying the nutrition of genes, chromosomes, and enzymes. Even genes require nutrition. When you're deficient in diseases, when you're deficient in nutrients, you get a disease, and the kink in the chromosome is in the same place, because that's where the mineral is. You give the mineral, and the disease goes away. Well, there's been, I've been called all kinds of names over the years. Well, I'm just so gratified to know that we now can announce, as of July 5th, 2012, we have a research relationship now at Clemson University from Clemson, South Carolina, extremely famous medical school. And I'm so proud to say that we have this relationship with them, and we are going to do clinical research in such a way that it's unimpeachable. We're so happy, we're so excited about this, that this is what we've been trying for. We've gone to all kinds of institutions, and even the alternative institutions would throw us under the bus. They'd say, well, that's kind of going too far, Wallach. We're alternative, but we can't bring ourselves to say that genetics don't cause all these diseases. Well, guess what? Clemson University say, well, okay, well, you got a lot of information here. Let's look at it scientifically and see if it is reproducible. Okay? And so we have a system now, and they say that by the end of this year, that we're going to have an enormous amount of information that will either knock us out of the box or give us complete credibility. I believe we're going to get complete credibility, right? And so this is just so exciting for me. We've been trying for all these years, and Clemson University finally said, yep, you have enough information here. We've looked at all the testimonies. We've looked at all the research you're citing and so forth, all the stuff you've written, Dr. Wallach, and we, Clemson University, are in it we're jumping in with both feet. They have a department called Clemson University's Institute of Nutraceutical Research. Okay? And so we're so excited to be part of the CU-INR. CU-INR is Clemson University's Institute of Nutraceutical Research. And what I want you to do is think of longevity as we're...
All right, so this was a little while ago, and now he's just the other day. So maybe there's been some delays. I don't know what kind of what kind of success he's had over at Clemson, but I'll try to figure that out.
Yeah, I know there was a product K-Pax that was put out by Orthomolecular Molecules, and they used that to just a study with AIDS and see how those clients or people in Africa reacted, and it's supposed to boost their immune system. Showed in the study, and the immune system study for AIDS is the CD4. It's an immune count, and it was raised 30%, which is the same as basically all the drugs together could do. And I would guess that the drugs are working less and less effectively, kind of like they seem to be everywhere else.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the veil is going to have to be lifted on this drug thing, at least for some of us. That can be, I mean, if we get just something that says, okay, I'm allergic to most drugs, I have unfavorable reactions to drugs, and then like a waiver that you sign where you don't ever have to take like an Obamacare drug.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something, worthwhile to me.
Sure. What do you think of this pathetic desperation? Which, I mean, I don't even really see it as desperation, because even if they don't reach their numbers, what's going to change?
Probably, well, not much, and what change will happen, might be worse.
Right.
But
yeah,
that's kind of good too. I mean,
what, just them?
Well, things to get worse for them to try to boil the frogs a little bit too fast. That kind of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Where people will notice, like, oh, I'm being boiled.
Right. Hey, man, it's getting hot in here.
Yeah, it's like, we raised it 1 degree too fast.
Yeah. All right. So, what have you been working with anyone there? Any significant stories, or what at any level of
well, just kind of like what I just said. There's been a couple pain people that can't take any pain medications, and they need like just an electron to satisfy the free radical. A free radical is always craving an electron.
Yeah, yep.
That's the free radical theory of disease, and that free radical is supposed to cause all inflammation.
Right.
So if it's just looking for an electron, why don't you just give it an electron? And yeah, these people are finding out if they get an electron, it satisfies a free radical.
Well, how do you? I mean, a lot of people say that if you alkalize your body, it's a good thing. And the definition of an alkali is like an electron bath.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have an abundance of electrons, meaning that you're alkaline, meaning that you've got a lot of calcium in the blood and things like that.
Yeah.
That you've got all these abundant electrons, so that any free radical that comes in there, it just boom, it just it's not like you've got a deficiency, and as it steals an electron from one, then that one steals from the next one. It's just like you're protected. I mean, even Bob Barefoot, the calcium guy, the coral calcium guy, said that he said in the alternative medical community, he said, we know that Michael J. Fox and all those things, and although you see how his body is neurologically, he reacts to this disease that he has. He said, Bob Barefoot said, these are free radicals that are chewing up his brain.
Yeah.
That he's got to do this. And he said, if anybody knows Michael J. Fox, let him know that, that this is, and I don't know that it's a calcium deficiency, but Or is it something that's happened over the years, like you were saying, about zinc?
It could be so many things. It could be, a number of viruses. It could be a number of funguses. It could be a number of bacteria. It could be a trauma that maybe he has an autoimmune condition where his body's signals just got confused and his body starts attacking itself. That happens from different EMF exposures sometimes. That's where your thyroid can start to produce antibodies, like in the case of Graves' disease.
Mm-hmm.
And then your body just starts attacking itself, and it's not really a foreign invader type of a thing. It's just you stop working right.
Yeah, so that's the scary stuff,
Yeah,
that is. Where you just stop working right, and then it's all like downhill from there if you don't.
Yeah, the first person I ever saw with Graves, he was a journeyman, so he worked on power lines all day.
Okay.
And right there, I'm like, holy cow! There might be something to this.
Yeah. Well, I slept for a number of years. No, actually, not even a number of years. It was maybe like 6 months or 8 months or something. 7 months. I slept. I lived in this apartment complex where when the road, you got your road, and then you've got the apartment complex right there on the road. And what they did was they took the power line and they just wrapped it around. They just wrapped the power line around the apartment complex.
Yeah.
So like you're laying there, and that whole side of the, as it goes around is a hot zone.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a rash. I had, like my sleeping patterns were messed up. I had developed a rash on my neck, that I still kind of have. And, my chiropractor said that it's some kind of strep. He said it's some kind of strep bacteria that is.
Yeah, it could be.
But it happened when I was sleeping in that hot zone.
Yeah, you had an environmental insult, and then you get exposed to something, and staph and strep is almost literally everywhere.
Yep.
We definitely come into contact with it every day, and then, but for it to overcome our body, I think usually our body has to be under some kind of stress. Like they'll put someone under anesthetic, which will it hurts the liver quite a bit, and then they'll cut them open and do a surgery, and then that's quite a bit of trauma. But then that's how like a staph infection can set itself up.
Mm-hmm.
Or like in your condition, or it could be an abrasion,
right?
Which is the scary thing that we're heading into, where I think they're going to start to allow some of, whether it be energy medicine or silver or different mineral combinations, working with amino acids for people, or the essential fatty acid balancing's really good too. But it's going to have to be otherwise because the drugs just won't work anymore.
Right.
And the drugs that work are usually so toxic for people that, like if it's a case of like an antifungal. So if you're really, really sick and you've had, you might be dealing with viral and bacterial and fungal, and all of that, usually these bacteria are pathogenic, partly because they produce poisons in their life cycle. And which would then stress the liver. And then this drug is taken that could be like a bacterial toxin, or, if it's antifungal, or if it's antibacterial, it might be a mold toxin like penicillin, which is not good for the liver. So you already have a compromised liver, and then the people they can't handle it.
Yeah.
So what are they supposed to do? Just die? I mean, they're going to have to find out other stuff, and that's why MD Junction and all these places are getting really big.
Right. I mean, for fungal stuff, I mean, I would suggest to somebody to take oil of oregano.
Yeah, oil of oregano is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole thing of being alkaline too. Once you're once you're alkaline pretty well, you generally won't have to deal with that so much. There's some compounds from coconut too.
Right.
You have butyric acid and lauric acid.
Yep, from coconut oil. Yep.
Yeah. I think we may have talked about that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good for your teeth, your gums, and stuff for bacteria and things like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some of the antiviral herbs or antibacterial herbs are also antifungal as well.
Yeah.
I think cat's claw might have some antifungal properties.
Right.
And that can be pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm. So what do you know about GMOs? Do you have a good knowledge of it, or is it something that?
I have a fairly good knowledge of it. I read the book Minerals for the Genetic Code by Dr. Orley, and he talks about Walter Russell's Minerals for the Genetic Code and where exactly they fit in, and in what frequency those minerals fit in, repetitive times. And he talks about the GMOs that we do it's so complicated that they put something that they want to splice in front of like a 22 blank, and they shoot that into something they want that, bacteria or whatever to go into. And he said that's how it was done. I couldn't believe that that's how it's done. You think you watch like movies and stuff, and they have you think they have like a tiny little robotic arm or something that does it. It's like, no, they're just shooting it in there. So it's like, I thought this was like real awesome science where there's, we'll have like two-headed dogs and stuff, but it's not, and it's just, so that BT toxin is a soil bacteria, and they introduced it to all kinds of species of plants, the corn and tomatoes and anything they want to produce this toxin.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Bacillus thuringius or something?
That's what the BT is?
Yeah. So they say like it reproduces in our guts, and someone posted this in one of my Facebook groups. It's like, well, whatever can we do about this? And he's like, well, we need to find a frequency for it, and we'll kill it with a frequency. And it's like, well, if that ever happens, and it, say like it's gone worldwide somehow, they plug that frequency into the HARP and woodpecker systems, whatever the hell the Japanese have. I'm sure they have some stuff, and it just gets run all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Monsanto and all the different GMO companies, and any GMO company, it's not just Monsanto, will produce anything to make money. And if that's a new GMO that could be potentially harmful, they'll do it for profit.
Yep.
I just posted, you have to do something about the source of it. You can't just keep on fighting. It would be the same as, if you had like a hornet infestation on the outside of your house and you never went to the hive.
Right.
I know that people are like, oh man, he's like Resident Evil, the hive. Well, yeah, Monsanto, I think their world headquarters is pretty close to Detroit, and I think that's Raccoon City. And
Raccoon City, right.
Well, they're barbecuing raccoons and selling them right on the street. Alex Jones is like, they'll take your lemonade stand and make you pay taxes, but in Detroit they wouldn't. Like, you can sell raccoons and probably squirrels or possums or whatever you have.
Uh-huh.
And and then you got Monsanto producing probably little Montauk monsters and stuff. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, the FBI agent cleared in fatal shooting of Ibrahim Todashev. So the guy that got shot, like how many times? He was shot several times, including once in the back of the head, and the FBI agent was cleared in the fatal shooting of Todashev. So,
yeah,
how far that is just a red flag of how far we've gone. Like this guy, I mean, this is insane. Anyway, Mark Zuckerberg is a hypocrite on internet privacy, as Facebook is a giant data mining operation with numerous government connections. Like I said, it's like this is all window dressing. Zuckerberg. These things have to happen, or people will become suspicious, right? Whereas I'm suspicious all the time, and as you are too. You look at that and you would think the same thing. This is just window dressing.
Yeah, whoever gets to walk with the president and like acting like the president has anything to do with it is fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that guy, he's got time to do his wife's makeup and whatever, do makeup on her Adam's apple or whatever's going on there. And
right.
They don't have a lot of time, and who did they come out with a schedule? They came out with a schedule for like Reagan, where they had every minute of his day itemized.
Right.
So he's going to meet up with Mark Zuckerberg and going to fix his privacy thing, even though
it was him and several others, but the article more or less focused on Zuckerberg. But I mean, it's just like I said, there's just no, like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that
there's no privacy in wireless.
I'm not buying that he cares about his or Facebook users' data. He doesn't.
There's no privacy the way that signals are sent around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's Tesla tech, like Constant and Mael has produced miniature little Tesla towers that can communicate with each other, and the frequency that works on the scaler to get the two towers to communicate together is 1.5 times faster. It's 1.54 times faster than the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
And it exists in one of the towers and the other towers. It doesn't exist between the 2 points. But we know with our wireless technology, all the signals and all the information are being sent all over the place. Mm-hmm. So whether Zuckerberg has 1 million meetings with Obama, who says like, okay, Obama is a code writing genius, and and he fixes it all. Well, if it's still being sent wirelessly, it doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be more easily compromisable.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any more health-related stuff in the news. So, do you think that there is a frequency that can that can target this BT toxin?
Oh yeah, there would be. I mean, they just have to get working on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been associations with it. Zyto has 1 or 2 associations with it, maybe a few homeopathics associated with it,
and
it really doesn't react with too many people at all.
The BT, you're saying?
Yeah.
So it's not as powerful as people are thinking?
Yeah, I don't think
it could be a binary. It could be a binary thing.
I don't think it holds as much weight as gluten or like magnesium deficiency. I don't think it holds near the amount of weight of either of those two. And magnesium deficiency basically is what happens when people don't eat vegetables. So, because there's people like, you don't need to take any vitamins and minerals. Well, that mineral is one of the only minerals besides iodine that they ever tried to introduce to our food because it's such a big deficiency.
Yep.
And if you run out of it, you could have a heart attack.
Run out of magnesium.
Yep.
Isn't there something in the chemtrails that is supposed to block like magnesium? I know that they were saying different things that in the chemtrails with the aluminum, it blocks certain absorption of other nutrients, so that you have to up those to make sure that
Well, when you detox anything, it carries a molecule of glutathione and a molecule of magnesium.
Right.
So the more toxins that you're exposed to, the more magnesium would be needed to transport it out. And you also, of course, need the glutathione as well. But
right. Let's see.
Yeah, so it would aggravate it. It would cause, it would cause a deficiency of it. Just because it's more of a toxin load that people are exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was on a BBC One, some British general news, it was on geoengineering. And, I post that to Facebook, and, I posted the Courtney Love finds out where plane 370 is, and, I've been tagging these things with, is this conspiracy or is this mainstream news?
Right, yeah.
No one will fucking answer it. It really pisses me off.
No, they're just, once they try to discredit someone, like they'll discredit Charlie Sheen or anyone, then they just don't, it's like,
Charlie Sheen
it's like,
probably wakes more people up about chemtrails than anyone else.
Yeah. You've got, the heck was it,
yeah, it shows a plane shitting out chemtrails too.
Right.
Atmospheric aerosols.
Jenny McCarthy has been really vocal about, her son and how well he's doing after he, started, doing some of this detoxing stuff and she got a show on The View, right? Didn't she get a spot on The View? So she's getting, she knows some powerful people, it would seem. And of course, Chrissy from, what's her name, from Three's Company. I can't think of her name. Anyway, the woman who played Chrissy on Three's Company, I'm not too much of a TV head. She's been, connected to, Joel Wallach and things like that. I can't think of her name. Anybody in the chat room help the Sholly Llama out?
That's interesting. We made international news in Michigan again, and if it's not for someone running over someone and killing them at a Black Friday Walmart sale, it's for...
Yeah, what is it? I think I saw something about it earlier.
Lesbian marriage.
Oh, okay. Well, these things are just, they don't really care whether, women are marrying each other or dudes are marrying each other. It's just a distraction. It's just really the distraction,
Well, it's a worldwide distraction.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, they like it. They like worldwide distractions. I mean, look at this Malaysian flight.
Michigan. In Michigan, we're known for like Madonna, Ted Nugent, Eminem, gay marriage, and the Walmart killing of people gotten to have their $1 towels or something.
Yeah. Sudden deaths of JP Morgan workers continue.
Nice. They're jumping.
Evidently. Kenneth Belando, age 28, found outside his East Side apartment building on March 12th in what the New York Post is calling an apparent suicide. There you go.
He shot himself twice in the head.
ATF raids gun parts store, terrorize shoppers despite court order. They do whatever they want. Gun tattoo mistakenly brings heavily armed police to Maine man's home. Anything they can do to demonize, gun ownership or guns in general. I mean, look at Bloomberg. I mean, that's all that bum is doing now. That's all he's doing now is just going around trying to.
Well, can't they make like little 1911s and different little guns and caves in Afghanistan? I mean, I've seen some pretty lowbrow arms manufacturing from documentaries over these horrible terrorists that we're all dealing with. And
I live in fear every day, man, of the terror.
Yeah. Well, I thought at the same time that they're re-allowing concealed carry in Chicago.
Yes, because they've been fighting about that for a long time because the judge said, listen, this is unconstitutional. I mean, just basically said we're going to do, but see, even though it happens, they still are abusing people. They're still abusing, they're not recognizing it.
People need to unplug from these cities. I make fun of anything about this retarded American culture that I can, like Disney.
Yeah.
I had old friends and stuff. They're like 30 years old, and they went to Disney World. And then they don't have kids. It's like when I went to Disney World and I was a kid, we called those people pedophiles. What the hell are you doing at Disney
Not
World?
anymore. It's normal behavior.
People are like, I love Chicago. It's got the Cheesecake Factory. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure you can go into your Walmart, too, and get your cheesecake there. You know?
Right. Probably for cheaper.
Yeah, probably for cheaper. You probably won't be shot there. Probably. I don't know.
Probably.
They're the ones that have all the cameras on the outside of the building just to watch, because they like to watch or something.
Yeah.
Bugged outside of Walmart.
France bans GMO maize despite EU Commission pressure. So, I mean, all these countries.
Good.
Yeah. Of course, we've got Netanyahu orders Israel army to prepare for a possible military strike against Iran in 2014. And, of course, up here a little ways up the article path here, they're $3 billion that they're allotting for it. So we're gonna see a conflict there.
So that means the Israelis are preparing to dress up as Iranians and attack somewhere, so then the U.S. can go in and attack Iran.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Good.
Whatever it takes. That's what the ends justify the means, right? In the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah.
Protesters in New York burned gun registration forms. They're also, I heard they're doing that in Connecticut. They're saying, come get them, you pricks. And then they backtracked and said there will be no door-to-door gun confiscation. See how they just the people say something, there's enough of a reaction, then they can't do anything. See, that's the thing. These people aren't the ones enslaving us. It's these jackasses that we walk amongst every day.
Yeah.
That are the ones that are causing all this to happen. Anyway, running out of time here. We got about 2 minutes left. UCY.tv, stay tuned for Dinah Everett Snyder, Canary Chronicles, and then Hal Anthony, Behind the Woodshed, for 2 hours from 3 to 5. And thanks to Jordan DeYoung for joining me here. We'll talk about health-related things. A lot of great information from Jordan. He's got his finger on the pulse of what's really going on in health and ways in the future that we're going to be able to deal with what Obamacare won't help us with.
Yeah.
So it's been a great Sunday here on UCY.tv. If you like what you're hearing, feel free go to UCY.tv and make a donation to UCY.tv and be a listener and tell people about the programming on here. Tell people about Cold Reality Radio and all the great programming on here. Thanks to Jules and the chat roomers, everybody in there, Vince, Lady, Dan, Desert. It's like I just always think I'm trying to fit in as much as I can before I hear payday come in. Stay on the line. I'm going to disconnect from UCY, but I want to talk to you afterwards. So here it is. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and keep up the fight the good fight. And don't take any wooden nickels. And don't hate the Russians. There you go.
Stop them. Don't put that on your wish list. That's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum. Some perform shock and awe on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary. For the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran. That's enriched, that's a bitch. Now we gotta teach a lesson to them.